All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Mike Check Show. Today we have a very important guest, the leader of the Gators and a staple of this league, Kurt Howland.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
No problem. How's the offseason treating you?
It's good. We're kind of getting back into the swing of things now. It was good to have a little bit of a break, and yeah, we're back practicing. We're in the thick of recruiting. I think everybody saw our first recruiting edit. I think some people weren't too happy about it, but
that was a big splash.
Yeah, I thought that would be a good one to start with. Let everybody know we weren't just going to sit back and be happy with what we did last year. We're going to keep building, and obviously we're not looking to just take everybody's players, but Gabe expressed some interest in coming to us. We expressed some interest in replacing some guys that are going on to play some pro football overseas, and yeah, so it kind of happened that way. And like I said, some people over here are pretty happy about it. Some people up there are probably not so happy, but
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But hey, for him, it was all about family, really.
Yeah. And, he kind of reiterated that to me multiple times. And yeah, at the end of the day, I would much rather play in front of my family than not. So
true. Exactly.
And
do you have any more big splashes coming? Or are you just holding off for a little bit?
No, well, I don't know when this comes out, but you probably will have already heard one. I don't know if it's as much of a splash because it's somebody from outside the league, but we have some very good football players that have expressed interest. Some very good football players that have come back around where we took a hiatus and it was like, hey, are you interested? Oh, well, I'm doing this, doing that. And then, after a national championship win, we get some messages back of oh, well, things have changed this year. So
that's how it usually goes.
Yeah.
You win and people want to come.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Enough about the Gators and all about you. So with these interviews I do, I love hearing how people got into the sport of football and what led them all the way to the AFL. What's your story?
Nothing too crazy. I was born in upstate New York. I am American. My parents moved me to Florida when I was really young. I was 5 years old. I think I just started kindergarten. Got down to Florida. Obviously, Florida is known for football. Football's life down there. So started playing tackle football at, 5-6 years old. Just played through youth football through Pop Warner, played high school football.
What was that like? It's pretty intense down there.
So when you think high school football in Florida, obviously it's huge. It's big time no matter what. We had our rivals. We weren't we were a big program as a 6A school, but we weren't a great team, but we played a lot of very good teams. I played against guys that were NFL guys that played big time college football. But you start getting into South Florida with Aquinas and American Heritage and Miami Central. That's the biggest football that you get in essentially high school football in the entire country. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was huge. It's a much different atmosphere.
Compared to here.
Yeah, Don Scott, our good friend of mine. I go to his. And he plays on our team, obviously, but his son plays at Notre Dame, one of the best schools in the city and in the country for a while now. And you go to the games and it's there's not a PA announcer, there's no music, there's not a band, there's no cheerleaders. It's the atmosphere is so much different. To have a band playing the whole game, you have cheerleaders, you have packed crowd. It's just it's
an actual
it's definitely something that's missing from Canadian football. If a team could put something like that together, I think that would be huge, because I don't think the kids and the parents and everybody they don't realize what they're missing until you actually go to you could literally just go across the border to a game in Montana. I guarantee it's crazy like that.
10 times better.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like with college too.
Yeah.
I watch CFL here. Yeah, it's a good time. I go down to the States, watch a game there. Just night and day.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why too, I think a lot of people that I know that have got more and more into watching or going to sporting events.
Yeah.
Everybody that I've talked to, their first game is usually an NFL game.
Oh yeah.
And then you go to a college game and they're dude, college game is so much better. The atmosphere, the tradition of everything. it's like college football down there, high school football. It's
Oh yeah,
something you
intense.
got to experience to understand. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So after high school,
But yeah, played through high school, played at played at a small school in West Georgia. I finished school, got back home. I was home for, I don't know, maybe a year, maybe a little bit more than that, was working. Some friends of mine, their dad started up. I didn't even know that like men's league,
Yep.
semi-pro, whatever,
Oh, yeah.
news flash for everybody. If you're not getting paid, it ain't pro at all.
Yeah.
But I've always hated that term. Like it's, it gets thrown around. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but like,
Wouldn't semi-pro
I feel like
be like arena?
I feel like semi-pro is arena, and even in Europe, because
Yeah.
you're getting paid, but it's not necessarily like a salary that's going to like sustain you as a career.
It's pretty much just while you're there.
Yeah. So like that was the big thing though, was a semi-pro team, but it was essentially like a senior men's team, and I didn't know it existed. But there's a bunch of leagues in Florida. Like once I start looking into it, I'm like, dude, there's like NFL guys playing in these freaking leagues. Yeah, like so he was starting up a team, and I was like, well, I'm not doing anything. I still want, I still love.
I got the itch.
Yeah, and I didn't really know it at the time, because now 20 years whatever later, I'm still playing, and it's like at the time I thought I was done playing football, and played a season with them. I think it was maybe 2 seasons with them, and then I ended up helping start a team in our area with actually my friend Kenny's dad and a couple guys that I grew up with, and had a really successful team. And then the following year we merged, just because where we were at, it was a little difficult. Like city wasn't really willing to like help us, so we moved to a team in Orlando. We combined teams, and I helped form a team. I have the helmet over there, the Orlando Phantoms. Yeah, so the Orlando Phantoms, us and another team combined, and I helped start that team. And that I actually only played there for a year. We made it to the championship game. I actually lost in the championship game, but I left to come to Canada at that point. But they ended up carrying on, and they're one of the top programs in Florida.
And they're still going?
Actually, I think they're done now. The owners moved on, but they were, for a good solid, 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it was, they were one of the top teams in like the top league in Florida.
Wow.
So come here. Again, like me and my wife, we've known each other since we were young. Since we were essentially in like elementary school. After university, like link back up, start dating. And then, she's dual citizen, so she was actually born in Canada. And we got married, kind of looking at wanting to start a family at the time. Housing market crashed, drugs were bad down there. We just kind of decided that it wasn't the best place to start a family. She had family up here. I had Canada, like there you don't learn anything about Canada in American school. So
which
like
is fair.
So like legitimately I had to look online to see where Calgary was. I had no idea where anything was. So
you can say in Florida you're most likely gonna learn about like Cuba than in Canada.
I mean, like a lot of like I was very big into like early American history and stuff. So like you learn a lot about like Spain and for being in Florida. But so we kind of took a shot where like she has family here. She got on with the radiology company up here.
Nice.
Like they helped us kind of get acclimated and helped us get going up here. And out of the blue, her sister was like, well, through like 10 times removed through marriage, whatever, there's this guy, Kyle Robbins, Two Smokes, everybody knows him. He was playing on the Gators, and they're like, well, he plays for this football team. Like, if you want me to get you in contact with them. And so I was like, well, I mean, I guess we'll see. Like, I'm not going to know anybody up there, so I might as well check it out. And so I messaged the Gators page. I actually messaged the Wolfpack too.
Oh wow!
I messaged both because I looked at the Gators page and I'm like,
they look good.
I don't know, man. Like, I to be honest, both of them league wise looked a little like I don't want to say beer league because there was a lot of good football players in the league, but like just
there wasn't a lot
the
of
production and everything of it wasn't the greatest. So I did reach out to them, never heard back. I'm still waiting on that message, like Sherman and Daryl, if you guys want to
Jeez.
hit me up. Yeah, so Don Nelson, who was running the team at the time,
Yep.
he was working the social media. He messaged me like, yeah, why don't you come up and check things out? And, at the time I was coming up in July, which was kind of end of July going into August as
Oh, yeah.
playoffs for them. Well, this might be some news flash and maybe this will get the Gators in trouble, but
I think they're fine now.
I come up there. Yeah, this is 12 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
I come up there and they're like, I come out to a practice thing. I'm going to meet everybody.
Yep.
And they're like, so do you want to play next week? We have our first round of our playoff game. And I'm like, how does
Jeez.
this work? And they're like, well, like we just had a guy play a game and we said he was you. Like, what?
Jesus.
And I'm like, well, I don't know, man. I was like, I'm like kind of out of football
Yeah, sure.
shape. I had just gotten married, like we were kind of just like
Oh, yeah. You weren't
living
ready
the
to
life.
jump right
Yeah, like we literally got married and I like traveled up not long after. Like it was pretty close. So I was
Yep.
like not in the mindset of football at the time. And so I came out and like practiced with them and
Oh, yeah.
like they're like suit up. So ended up suiting up, practiced with
Jeez.
them like 3 practices.
Yep.
Played a little bit in the playoff game. It wasn't like I did anything.
Oh, okay.
Like we ended up losing that game anyway. So to Red Deer, yeah, we ended up losing like a close game.
Yep.
And I was very much on the fence of like Devron, who everybody knows Devron. He's
Oh, yeah.
literally changing his son's diaper on the sideline,
Jeez.
which is actually I think it was Devaney is like one of the best football players in
Mhm.
Alberta right now for his age. He's
Damn.
a freak. He plays running back. But at that time, I think
Yeah.
it was him. He's an infant. He's changing his diaper on the sideline. And I'm just like, what the hell?
Like, yeah.
And if it wasn't for probably Oren came up to me after, and I think he got the vibe that I was like not feeling what was going on. Even though I love Devron.
Thanks, Oren.
Yeah, like Devron, honestly, with my kids and everybody,
Yep.
he's like family to me. But he kind of came up and was like, hey man, like we're doing some things different next year, and we're gonna, hopefully things will turn around. And so I ended up kind of gaining a friendship with him, did some off-season workouts with some of the guys and stuck around. Again, never heard back from the Pack, so it was kind of like it was my one option. But yeah, so then I played that season and I just kind of told them, I'm like, hey guys, like I've done, it's a little different how we do it in Florida. Like I've done some things that I think can help run the team a little bit more efficiently. And to the credit of like Don Nelson and the guys, they were like, there was no fighting. And you know what, to be honest, since that point of me just being like, hey, I can do some things that will help turn the team around. They let me do that. And there's never been any pushback since that day. There never was at all. And it just up till now, like we're a board that's never really been divided, which I think has been a very big key to our success. Like there's never, because I've played on teams where the board is like down to the last vote and everybody's on. It never, I don't think it's ever even come close to that. Like everybody's always had the same goal. So yeah, I kind of put some things in place. We did some recruiting, certain things that kind of help move the team along. And that first year, make it to won the AFL championship, went undefeated.
Nice.
Lost our first of 3 losses in the national championship, but played a really good Montreal Transit team out in Montreal, who was run by Dave Spence. RIP to Dave. He passed away a while back, but really good dude. And then we just kind of went from there. Like had some up and down years. Like won the AFL, lost the national, and then the rest of that. 17 took a break, came back in 24, and last year you were part of a pretty damn good football team. So
yeah, it was definitely night and day between the Pack and the Gators. Like, am I being spoiled here? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
So I definitely enjoyed my time with the Gators. But of course, with the Gators splitting up for a bit, you played for Red Deer and the Monarchs?
Yeah, so 2017 ended, and there was just so many guys that were done. Like, I think at the time, Jordan was getting into the Air Force. He was kind of looking at moving away. There was just a bunch of guys that, like, we had put so much into it. And to be honest, 17 was the year we came back and tried to win again, because 16 had a ton of injuries. Like Cassidy got hurt. against Fort Mac and had a pretty serious injury. We had a bunch of injuries and that 16 was like a really good year. The Bucks were really good. The Fort Mac was really good. We had a really good team. And like we just kind of like looked at it like, you know what, like let's try to go back with a healthy team.
Yep.
And 17 ended up winning, still national championship, lose on a blocked field goal, like heartbreaking, and I think guys were just so emotionally spent.
Oh yeah.
And I looked at it and I was just like, we've put so much work into the team, and there was teams that were middling in the league already. And like, I'm not gonna like call out teams, but there were teams that were already struggling. And I'm just like, the league doesn't need another struggling team that can barely survive.
Yep.
And to like, the guy that would have been left to pick up the pieces would have been Don Nelson. And like, he's salt of the earth guy. He'll do whatever it takes to make it work, but he'll also do it to his detriment. Like when I got here, Donnie's a super nice guy, and like guys take advantage of him. And I'm not that, like, I'm the opposite. Like I'll tell you to fuck off from day one. And like,
true.
For me, it was like, I don't want him to be put in that position. If Donnie wants to keep playing, he can. And he went to Red Deer, had a good year. And, so the team took a break, and then in 18, and a lot of guys were like, well, like all these guys are going to play. And it's like, at the end of the day, it was true. I think like maybe like 5 or 6 guys from a team of 50 guys continue to play in the AFL in 2018. Like it wasn't like some huge number of guys just dispersed.
Yeah.
Most guys just stopped playing.
Yeah.
So 18, I ended up, I own a business, and we were doing a building up just south of Fort McMurray in a.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, we were doing a fire hall, a big fire hall on one of the reserves up there, and I'd actually talked to Red Deer because a couple guys were going there, and it was weird. Devin Hand, he had like, I think it was because in 17 they got in a bunch of trouble because 16 they had like compensated some players. Some players literally just send an email to the league, which I wasn't even the president at the time. It was Matt Squires. Sends an email with like receipts and all. It was like pretty damning evidence. But I think Devin Hand kind of took the brunt of it. Like put it on me, like it was me, and whatever, it is what it is. Like most teams in the league wanted the Bucks.
Yeah.
Like done in the AFL.
That's
if it wasn't for
ridiculous.
me, it might have happened, because I was like, dude, the amount of community work the Bucks do.
Oh yeah.
And like, because of one guy making a mistake, like you're not like, dude, it's sanctions. Like we're not getting rid of them. And I kind of lawyers got involved. It was a mess, but kind of, made it to where, it definitely screwed up their season in 17 because it really messed up their recruiting for the sanctions they had, but it kept their team alive,
which is good.
Yeah. And I think I was talking to the Bucks before I found out about that job, and Devin Hand was like, no, I don't want him on the team, which was like, dude, honestly, I hate to say it, but like most guys that like try to hold animosity towards me and like certain, like especially in this league, it doesn't end well for them.
It's
because
ridiculous.
What happened was I ended up picking up a contract up there.
Yep.
Talked with Jesse, which brought Bryce Harper, our running back, who was a friend of mine. He had finished university and was like, hey, I'm looking at playing. He was actually thinking the Gators were still around. And I'm like, well, I'm actually going to be going to Fort Mac.
Yeah.
So Bryce ended up being a freaking stud.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Ends up winning MVP of like the national championship game, whatever. Yep. I brought up another DB, and then one of our best DNs, Ty Pham, who again messaged the Gators page, and I was like, well, no, but I'm going. And he knew Jesse, as a matter of fact, after the fact. But but yeah, so we go up there, we beat them week 1, and then we ended up
been satisfying.
Yeah, and then and it was a really good game. That was actually Xavier was talking about. That was the game that he got hurt on like the last play. He had like 200 yards receiving. He freaking balled his ass off. But we ended up beating them. We beat them at home, which was the game that Brandon Lay got knocked out, which I was pretty sure it was Ty Pham, the guy that I brought up there, is the guy that knocked him out of the game. And then we ended up beating him in the playoffs because they didn't have a quarterback. And we ended up winning a national championship. So at the end of the day, it's like, probably should have just like
you got the last
swallowed your pride and maybe let me go play in Red Deer. But, it is what it is. But then
eventually
COVID happens. I was done playing football.
Yep.
COVID happens. I was like not in a great place. I was like ready. I had already had somebody come and look at my house to like put it on the market.
Oh
Like I was
damn.
getting out of there because it was
Yeah.
like freaking lockdowns. Like I'm not allowed to go to the grocery store. My
Yep.
buddies in Florida, they're like taking videos from the Super Bowl, like
Oh,
sending me
okay.
videos, and I'm just like, what the hell are we doing here?
So you're thinking about going back there
Yeah,
now?
and because it was just like, man, it was like it's depressing. I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of people felt it, where it was just
True.
like, dude, I want to just live my life. And like we actually did go home to Florida for like 3 months and just stayed, and it was like normal.
Oh yeah.
Everybody acted like it was
Yeah. Nothing
freaking
happened.
World War Z down there, and it's like old people are wearing masks, young people aren't, and everybody's minding their own damn business.
Yeah.
And like, but if on the news, you would have thought it was the zombie
Oh,
apocalypse.
I know. That's what
Yeah,
I always read.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't know
So
about that.
so luckily things started to open back up.
Yep.
A couple guys were up in Red Deer. A good friend of mine that played Gators and then went to Red Deer, Braden. He called me. He's like, "Man, why don't you just
Yep.
come play?" And I was like, "You know what? It's COVID's still kind of going on. Like, not like do something just
Oh
to
yeah.
like get my mind off of just
Yep.
feeling like crap." So went up there in 2021. At that time, the head coach that didn't like me, he had left.
Okay.
I came and helped them go to win their first ever AFL
Which is
championship.
hilarious.
Yeah, which and you know what? At the end of the day, I actually do like Devin Hand is a good dude. I
Yeah.
get like where he was coming from, but it was just like I feel like if he would have just had a real conversation with me and like
Yeah.
I think we could have worked it out. But
Sometimes you just gotta swallow your pride and just talk it
yeah,
out.
yeah, it is what it is.
Yep.
But honestly, that year was awesome. I think that was the year that kind of got the Gators 2024 season in motion,
Oh, okay.
winning that because actually the season didn't end well. I ended up tearing my ACL at the very end of the season, right
Oh shit.
before the championship game. And but being there and like helping, like obviously I'm a committed guy. I stayed. I like made sure everybody was ready to go. The other I was playing running back that year, the backup running back, like really good football player, young kid. He made sure he was ready, won it, and then seeing how that season, like how it went, like all the alumni, like it
Oh
was an
yeah.
emotional day, man. There's a lot of guys. Red Deer's had a
Yeah.
bad, they had some bad luck. Like they've
That's
had
for sure.
chances and like have never won one. And like to see the guys that are still involved that started that team that are like
Yeah.
part of their board and to see them like because they're that was a huge like community wise like
Oh yeah.
their community is very involved in the football team.
Yeah,
So
they love that team.
yeah, so it turned into that was kind of the seed that was planted where I'm like, you know what, man, like at the end of the day, yeah, maybe we would have sucked for all the time if I left and like maybe like things wouldn't have gone well, but we're kind of taking away a place for the alumni and the old guys to come and watch a football game
Oh
and
yeah.
talk about the
Yep.
fucking good old days and you know what I mean? So
True.
I think that was the start that kind of planted the seed of what has become now,
Okay.
the return of the team.
Yeah. The great return of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um so speaking of the Gators, of course the past season was the most successful. I'd say the best team. But for you, what's the most talented team you've ever been on? Just for the Gators.
Yeah, okay. So 2024 would be hard to beat. I would probably say 2024
Okay.
it's crazy coming back. It was kind of a weird thing where it was hard to, there's a lot of guys that are older and hadn't played football in a long time.
Yeah.
But I
That's for
honestly
sure.
do believe maybe not taking 7 years off that some guys did,
Yep.
but man, the wear and tear that the body that it put on a lot of guys' bodies from 17 to now that are
Yep.
still playing, it's I think that not playing all those years and coming back and like getting your body somewhat healthy, I think what played a huge role in us still being able to do it. I think the only other team that would come close, because like 17 we had a really good team, but there was definitely holes in the team and we just kind of came together and ended up
Oh yeah.
upsetting Fort Mac at the end. I think everybody thought Fort Mac would beat us in the AFL championship and we kind of kicked their ass that game. But 15
Yeah.
talent wise, we had a lot of really good
And health wise too.
yeah, and to be honest, that 15 team really like we lost one of our best receivers in the national championship. Jordan's brother Nathan ended
Yep.
up getting hurt. Cassidy got hurt in the AFL championship, so he came into that game really banged up. And like at the end of the day, like we were really GTA in the first half. Like they were reeling, like we were
Oh yeah.
putting it on them. Like
Mhm.
they weren't ready for what we had brought. But like they're a great team.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they've been around a long time. They ended up battling back, and I've always just said, really, at the end of the day, and like they've beat us twice. They beat us by 1 point. But I've always said, like, of course they won, but going to going traveling and playing a
Oh
different
yeah.
set of rules and like playing out there, the fact that we lost by 1 point, I still look at it on a neutral field playing like our normal rules. If we both played the same rule
Yep.
set, I think we probably beat them.
Oh yeah.
And I think too that's why it was like, if we would have played them this past 2024 season, I feel like if we would have played GTA and we beat them by 1 point, I
Yep.
would say, like, honestly, on a neutral field, they probably would have beat
Oh yeah.
us because they're playing our rules now.
Yep.
They're a running team. They had to go to 3 downs.
Yeah. They come
But
here.
I think coming here, it kind of showed like
Oh yeah.
we were the better team. It was no, like,
Yeah.
has there ever been a run time in a national championship? Like, they were running the clock. I was arguing it. I was like,
I'm not
listen,
sure.
because the refs were arguing with me. I'm like, listen, this is a national championship.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't run
there's
it.
to run the clock, and like for us, it's a benefit. But
Yeah.
really, still, I'm just like, they're like, well, unless the league makes a note of it, we have to. And I'm like,
So dumb.
that's weak. But
Because then the backups want some reps.
yeah, and that is a big that has been a big issue
Yeah.
like this past year, where it's like, man, like those like the guys that come to practice every practice and work their ass off, like they
Yeah.
shouldn't only get half of the reps in a second half of a game because you're running the clock. But
Exactly. Especially for the young guys.
I'm not a fan of that rule. I think that's the nerfing of sports is what that's kind of become, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah,
Exactly.
to answer that question, I would say 24 is probably the most talented, especially defensively, and I think 15, you could argue,
Okay.
is right up there.
Yeah. Well, going back to them running the clock, gonna say let the teams get beaten by 90. It happened to me twice. It builds character, so it'll build character for them. Oh well, whatever. So, of course, the Gators, I'd say, always been successful, at least since you've been in the league. What sets the Gators apart from the other franchise in the AFL?
Well, one thing I will say is the Gators did have successful seasons before ours. I think where we took it to another level was the organization itself. Like
Okay.
the Gators had good seasons. Like they've won, I think their first year they won an AFL championship.
Okay.
I don't know what the quality of football was
Yeah,
back
who
in
knows?
'98 or whatever it was. But yeah, I think what kind of sets us apart is we could easily just recruit the best players and like go out there and win and then just
Mhm.
like call it a day.
Oh yeah.
But I think we take it to another level where there's never been a player that's come out and been like, well, like I don't agree with the way the team is run or it's not run well, so I'm leaving. It's like
Oh, okay.
if anybody ever leaves, it's like, listen, like I want, try to get some more playing time, whatever,
Yep.
which is understandable. But yeah, I think just we have a lot of people that put a lot of work into running the team, like, between Holly, Oren's wife, my wife, Cassie, Steph, Shanna, like there are 4 people that are on our board that probably do more work than some of the players on other teams.
Yeah, I can say that.
And it's like, if you have that kind of buy-in from people that, like, of course they love that they get to watch us succeed and do
Yeah.
what we love doing, and like our kids are all involved and they they like that aspect, and like they like it too, like like
Oh yeah.
some of my wife's best friends now are some of my player, the guys that I'm friends with that are
Mhm.
players that are their wives. But yeah, at the end of the day, like they're not the ones with the helmet and pads on
Yeah.
and holding up a trophy at the end of the year. Like they do it to
Yeah.
help us, and it's like that's the kind of buy-in that we get, and like we kind of, and then when it comes to a player standpoint, we demand it. It's like,
Yeah. True.
and I think it gets lost on some of these teams of like the work that it takes to do it, and it's like I think some of these teams look at it like, oh, like the Gators have always been this way. Like I said, when I got
Yeah.
here, the Gators were a middling team. Like Red Deer was, they were solid, but they weren't like some powerhouse, and they beat us
Yep.
in that first playoff game when I was here.
Yeah. So.
Like all these other teams I watched, like they weren't run any better. I think it was
Yeah.
just needed a little kick in the ass. But yeah, I just think I think teams aren't willing to put the work in that it takes on a consistent basis,
True.
because there's work being done all the way through the off season.
Yeah.
We've had 2, 3, 4 board meetings, whatever, in just in the off season alone.
Yeah.
Like meet up, go over things,
That's surprising.
make plans. Yeah, and it's like, some teams and some players get frustrated with us, but I don't see where the frustration is. At the end of the day, like, we work harder than everybody else.
True.
Nobody has ever come to our practices and the way we work, and like a practice plan, and like what we're doing, and like keeping on it strict, and like having a plan for what we're doing through a practice, and like whatever events we're doing. Like,
Yep.
there's a ton of work that gets put in, and like, at the end of the day, if you're not willing to put the work in, then you can't be mad at the end result when your team doesn't have the result that you wanted, but you're not willing to do the
Yeah.
work that it takes for the result you want. So it's like,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, got to put in the work.
yeah,
That's why I kind of got frustrated with just the league in general for the off season. Like, there's nothing going on. Like, it's kind of just dead.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, I think something like Tejan Omari kind of got something going originally.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I started something in the past. Like, I do the AFL news page, which is not even league affiliated. I
Oh, yeah.
literally started that because there was no social media presence
Yep.
other than a message board where Ryan Belleros would just talk shit to everybody and piss
Yeah.
everybody off, and like, it was funny.
I
And
kind
there's
of want
like,
to do that again.
and there, yeah, and there
Yeah.
is like some informational stuff on there. Like,
Yeah.
I post stuff on there now, but it's like, there wasn't a place that you could go that was more just professional. Like, hey, like, all the teams'
Oh, yeah.
information, all their events is all just in one place.
Yeah.
And then like Omari and Teach have started their thing, and like, but they kind of geared more towards high school outside
Oh,
of the
yeah.
AFL
Yeah, in
season.
the off
So
season.
it's good. I think it's something
Yeah.
that needed to happen. I think with you, the next step is taking it and putting it into just podcast form, because I do like the
Yeah.
video, but for me, and I'm sure for
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of people,
Yeah.
I feel like the audio version is where, because for me, I'm at work, I put an AirPod in, and I
Okay,
listen to like 10 hours worth of podcasts.
Okay.
So you put it through that rotation, but it is good.
I'll get on it. Yeah.
I like the video portion of it, because I think maybe Teach and Omari are doing it now.
Yeah.
But it is good to have video format.
Yeah.
But you could do
'Cause
both.
you
You,
get
do
I can do
YouTube, and
both.
you could do
Yeah.
more work for you, but
Yeah.
I feel like you get, I would assume bulk of listens come from audio format.
Oh, yeah.
Because not everybody's sitting
Yeah, on
watching
their phone.
YouTube on their phone or on their TV.
True.
So, yeah.
I'll do that eventually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's me. How do you hire staff? Anyways, so going back to you, of course I like to talk about struggles because we all deal with it. On football aspect, what was your setbacks and how did you overcome them?
Honestly, football wise, I've been pretty lucky, man. Like, well, I'm not even so much luck. I've just always worked hard. I'm aware that I'm not the biggest guy. I'm aware I'm not the most athletic.
Yep.
I've always had the mentality of like working my ass off. So like, I guess like really 2021 sucked, like tearing my ACL.
Yeah.
And then like,
oh yeah, coming back from that.
Yeah, and then like having to wait to get the surgery.
Yep.
And then yeah, like I waited to get that, and then like my rehab was kind of the beginning of last season. So like,
okay,
like
Jesus.
I'm in a way better spot right now. I was literally every time, like this time last year, every time I took a cut, I'm just like,
yeah, is this
waiting for, yeah. And finally I was like, dude, just fucking cut. And if shit happens, then it is what it is. And so it was all mental. So that was tough. But yeah, like football wise, I mean, obviously losing a national championship by 1 point multiple times. 17 hurt a lot, because 17 was a situation where like 15 we had so many good football players, and like we made mistakes, shit happened, our defense like put us in so many good positions, and like offensively we kind of screwed them over. 17, like defensively we played our ass off that game. Offensively, like I think on that last drive, I think I caught a first down. That was an important one. I don't know if it was the last drive or not, but I caught a first down and then got hit by this dude who hit me right in the, I was literally pissing blood.
Oh,
that after the game, like
Jeez.
Got smoked in the side. So like I made some plays at the end of that game that helped put us, because I think I got a first down on, I think it might have been a fourth down, a third or fourth down, and then We complete a deep pass to Soretsky.
Yep.
Soretsky makes a great play to put us in field goal range. And then you think you've done enough to
Oh yeah.
like help march the team down the field, and then to lose that way, that one hurt a lot. Like
Oh yeah.
to lose like that, and
Yeah, I've been there.
yeah, and like just what's the chances of losing to the same team in a national championship? Not
Yeah.
the same way, but still by 1 point is freaking insane. But yeah, that one definitely sticks out. I mean, I had some like high school, there's some rivalry games and stuff,
Oh
but
yeah.
I mean, as an adult, I think those stick out more because
Oh yeah.
they're not so far in the past. But
Yeah. Like my high school stuff, I don't even remember.
yeah, we had
Except for
some
the brawls. I remember those.
brawls. Oh
Yeah.
shit, I don't remember. Yeah, we definitely had some big rivalry games like against like Pine Ridge and stuff, but I don't
Yeah.
and Deland, but I don't remember any brawls. I don't remember anything
Oh.
crazy like that happening, which is surprising.
Yeah.
If I would have
Especially
guessed
Florida.
brawls, I would have assumed more down where we're at.
Yeah, no kidding.
Calgary, but
It's funny because it was Friday Night Lights, big game against our rivals, and difficulties.
yeah.
Now we're on to the funny U.S. funny story.
Yeah, so we had some like where I'm from, it can go from like a 15-minute drive will take you from like the hood to like gated communities.
Yep.
So we had some guys on our team that were from both areas, and like this, I can't even remember his name. He was a D lineman, and this like goofy white kid, and we're playing this team from down south. They're like Deerfield area or something like that, and there's this quarterback, big like black dude, gold teeth in his mouth. But he played. I don't remember what college he played at, but he was on the practice roster for the Jets for a bit.
Damn.
And I'm playing. I was playing like a strong safety position at the time, and I was like checking to the line, and I'm like right on the line, and he comes up and he gets under center, and he's got his like chin strap like barely buckled and his mouth guard hanging out, and this fucking white kid, like nerdy dude, was like. And the best was he like yelled it to the ref and his voice cracked like he was like going through puberty, and he's like, he doesn't have his mouth guard in. And the dude's under center in the middle of his cadence and just like stops his cadence and said, these are NFL rules, motherfucker. And fucking snaps the ball,
Yep.
fucking throws like an 80-yard touchdown. And I was like, what the hell just happened? And yeah, this kid's like crying about the guy doesn't have a mouth guard, and this dude's got like all gold teeth, just like fuck you, and just like snaps the ball, and throws a touchdown.
It makes it better that his voice cracked.
Yeah, he had like the crack in his voice. I was embarrassed because I'm like, man, like we're playing a bunch of like good football players, like
adults.
You know, like I want to like, you know, it was a game where you want to like go and ball, and it ended up actually being a really good game. I can't remember if we won or lost, but I know it was a close game. But yeah, like to have that happen like at the beginning, and like I was embarrassed as shit. I'm like, these guys must think we are the most corny humans on the face of the earth. But and then
at least you made it a good game.
Some Gators funny stuff. Yeah, like our guy Lucky, he was kind of like, he came around a little bit last year to some practices. He was kind of like the team mascot for a while. He would play though, and like he would switch positions every year. One year he's a slot back, one year he's a running back. And I've got so many stories for him. Like one, we played the Stallions in Edmonton, and somebody, I think it was like Quincy or one of the guys, like gave him dollar bills, and like the plan was to do like the end zone dance, and we give him the ball at running back because like we're trying to get him the ball. Jordan's like rifling the ball in at him and like smoking the ball off him because Jordan's like not thinking like, hey man, this is Lucky. Like throw him a nice little catchable ball and run in.
He doesn't have the hands.
Yeah, I think he threw him like a slant and like took one off the face mask or something. So then we're like, we're on the like 1 yard line. Let's just run him in there.
Oh yeah.
Well, Luck like takes the ball. He's standing straight up. Somebody comes through the hole and just smokes him and lays him. Falls, his ass crack is like hanging, his pants are like halfway down. So then finally I think it must have been third down, we like hand him the ball, push him into the end zone. He rips out some dollar bills out of his thing. I think he actually had dollar bills, or he at least did the money thing.
Oh yeah.
And the whole team goes out on the field and like celebrates
Yeah.
with him. The refs are all like thinking that this is like a Make-A-Wish thing. Even the Stallions dudes were really good about it, though. They were
Yeah.
all like knew who Lucky'd been around the league
Oh,
forever, way longer than me. And then there's definitely some Montreal and Toronto strip club stories
Yeah.
involving guys like Lucky partying after the national championship losses. I think that
Yep.
was probably the only thing that brightened our day was watching Lucky negotiate
Yeah.
with strippers.
Jesus.
But it was I'll tell you what, the one thing I will say is Montreal is probably the wildest wildest place to go when it comes to the Rippers, for sure. Yeah, they know how to party. That was an experience. And I'm from Florida, where like Tampa area has like some of the best in like in the country. And like, dude, those were like, those might as well just been like a freaking bikini bar compared to what they got going on in Montreal. But shout out Lucky. He was Lucky's the man. He came out a little bit last year, but he was traveling around. He's a world traveler. So he was traveling all over Europe or something like that. So he wasn't around too much. But,
But at least he came out to some games.
Yeah, he's the man.
There you go. Oh, Lucky. All right. So for we'll say you have a busy life, correct?
Yeah. I like to say I have a busy life, but I have a very good and blessed life.
That's
good. I'd rather be busy than sitting around.
True. All right. I think this is more advice for myself than, well, I guess you guys can take it too. Father of three. We'll say you're the treasurer for the Gators, right?
Yeah, I'm the treasurer.
Yeah, organize things. You have your own company, or
yeah, I own a business too.
Okay, how do you juggle all of that?
At the end of the day, really, I just I've been very fortunate. My business, the way I run my business is I work a lot in obviously like I own a construction company, a very like niche thing. I do like sealants and stuff, but I'm just lucky I do a job where I can work for a week straight really hard, and I can take 2 weeks off. And I do have people working for me that I have like as, essentially like subcontractors or employees that do work. So it frees up my schedule that way. But at the same time too, it's like I've never been one of these people that complain about things in my life and all this. Like, I'm out playing football. Like, what, I could leave my kids here to sit on screens and play video games or stare at an iPad for 2 hours, and I'm like, no, like, come to practice. Other guys have followed suit, and you've seen it. It's like a little pack of hyenas literally running around, jumping on the monkey, like where they do the shoots, like at Aberhart, where they have the football shoots. They're literally climbing on top of it. At times, there's like 12 of them. It's my kids, Orange kids, Cass's kids, like Kyle's kids, like a bunch of them, and it's like, man, like that's the kind of stuff that I grew up doing. Like, I know there's a happy medium where like kids, you don't want them to get behind. Like they're like the future is on a screen. So like, but you can be productive on a screen, and you can also be a zombie on a screen.
True.
So I'm just like, even our workouts, like we go to Athletic Edge. My dude Asher, the youngest, you know him well. That kid is like, he has the mentality of me for sure, but even more like Paxton, my older son. He's super hyper focused on football. Like, I'm a football player. I need to do training. I want to do this. But like, he's a sweet kid. He's more quiet. But he's like, I try to explain to him, buddy, like, there's other sports. Like,
have fun.
You don't just like, you don't need to go crazy on that. But Asher has the mentality. We go there and like, they're all having fun. They're playing, but I'll look over. I actually have video. Me and Asher just went by ourselves to Athletic Edge last night, and I look over, and he's literally telling the high school kids. Lance is running a high school, their football thing that's going on right now. They're training. Asher's over there making them do workouts, like shit that's like doesn't even make sense. Like, it's funny, like, but he's telling them what to do, and they're listening. And then he goes over, he just grabs a bar, and he's like bench pressing. He's like down by himself, like I've told guys, I said, if he keeps that mentality that he has, that kid's going to be a freaking
Yeah,
animal.
beast.
But I've just kind of built that into their system of like there's so many different ways to have fun.
Oh yeah,
Because if you let your kids be a if you let the iPad be your kid's babysitter, man, like
yeah.
that's
It's
still a project. That's still like a science project. Nobody knows how that ends because
oh yeah,
this hasn't been around that long.
true.
And I think the early results are not good.
Yeah,
Like I think that's ruining like
yeah.
phones and all that shit is ruining things.
I've seen a lot of videos of kids just acting like animals because of those tablets.
Yeah, man. And
Yeah,
like and my kids love it. And like I said, there is a place for it because you don't want your kid to like be clueless when they get into the real world and like, hey,
yeah,
like everything especially in another 10, 15 years, everything's gonna be on a screen.
yep,
But listen, like watching fucking YouTube videos for 4 hours straight, like that's not gonna get you anywhere
yeah.
like in real life. So
Unless it's film.
yeah, there you go. Yeah. But yeah,
You're just
honestly,
watching film.
I've just managed to make a way that I can include my kids in everything. And
Yeah.
I'm just have the mentality of like there's a lot of parents and I don't blame them like you parent your kid however you want.
Oh yeah.
Your relationship with your wife like that's
Yep.
everybody's different. But I just noticed um like the way people parent their kids is like they kind of pawn it off on them or like if they can get a night out it's like oh I want to get away from the kids like
Yeah.
I just never been that way man like I'm very much like if I can't do it if I can't do it with my kids I don't want to do it
Yeah.
if we can't do it as like a group of like all our friends and our kids and everything
Oh
together
yeah.
it doesn't interest me that's why like I grew out of the whole like going to clubs and
Okay.
I grew out of that at an early age. I
It's
just
like, what's the point of having a hobby if you can't share it with your kids?
yeah, and like man, like I think too, looking at it this year, like I we brought the team back. They were all excited, like, oh yeah, like they didn't know what to expect. Then it
Yep.
became like they're at every practice, they're at all the games, and then to actually, and like this isn't on the level, we're not freaking NFL players, but like we take it serious.
Yep.
Like they see the work that gets put in, and like for any of the guys on our team's kids to see us start where we did and end by winning a national
Yeah.
championship, I think like that's huge for
Oh
kids
yeah.
to see that, man, and like to
Yeah.
see like in first-hand experience of you striving for all that, being at all those practices, and then showing what the hard work pays off to.
Yep.
That's super valuable for children, and I think I truly think too like it's only made my Asher and Paxton and even Harper like the way they are like super hyper focused on things they like doing.
Yep.
I think it's made them look at it in the sense of like, hey, like if I work real hard at this, like I can be
Yeah.
really good at it. So I don't know, man. I think for me, it's not even like I'm not reinventing the wheel. I feel like
Yeah.
it's common sense and it's things that people should be doing with their children and their wives and
Yeah.
yeah, because even the wives like
Yeah. Get them involved.
yeah, they're all and like man, like I said, like my wife is she can be very social, but she's introverted when it comes to meeting people.
Okay.
But once she meets you, and it's like, dude, if it wasn't for football, I don't know that my
Yeah.
wife would really have any friends because she's not like open. She's not a social butterfly to go out and
Yeah.
meet new people. But
It's funny. That's the same for me because if I didn't play football, I wouldn't go out anywhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people like that. You got to kind of have that little. I've always been the little bit of a push for her to
Yeah.
be like, hey, go hang out with this person. And like
Yep.
I said, I mean, like we've made lifelong friends. If it wasn't for football and the initial of being here, I can almost guarantee, and I've said it before, I would not be in. I don't think I'd be in Canada
Oh yeah.
because I would have came here. We would have like started kind of, it's not like I came here with nothing. That's another thing too. It's like I came here with like a couple, a few $100 in my bank account and like, a hope of like
Yeah.
making it happen. And
Oh yeah.
like we did. Like I would have come here. There would have been no sports. I wouldn't have met.
Yeah.
I meet people. Like I can talk and whatever. But like I'm very confident we would have probably worked out my wife's work contract with the radiology company. I think we would have been
Yeah.
back in
Move back.
Florida. So yeah,
Now
no.
look at you.
Look
You have
at
your
me
own company.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So continuing on with the kids and them clearly getting into football.
yeah.
What advice would you give them as an athlete?
I mean, honestly, for me, it's the same as we were just kind of talking about. It's
Yep.
you got to work.
Oh yeah.
Because I try, I'm always harder on because I've coached a little bit with I'm not huge on coaching. I mean, I know
Mhm.
football, but like I've just always been big on like I'll coach my kids up through to make sure they're getting the proper. And if I feel like they've got good coaches, I can be hands off. If they
Yep.
want help, great. If not, whatever. But I'm always gonna be a person that's gonna coach the good kids harder because I feel like the soft kind of beta male type shit that's going on nowadays, to be honest, is like
Yeah.
you've kind of like, oh, you don't want to upset the really good kid. Like, no, it's like, man, like
Yeah.
that kid is the problem is with football players that are good is eventually they're going to get to an age where everybody's as good of an athlete.
Oh yeah.
You might be like the one in a million God given gift where you just show up, throw on cleats and a helmet and shoulder pads, and you could beat everybody.
Yep.
But guess what? Like those don't come around that often. They
True.
might come around as a kid, like
Mhm.
9, 10, but the older you get into high school, you get into university. At some point, you meet that point where everybody's just
Yeah.
as good as you, and it's all about the work that you put in.
Oh yeah.
And like I was saying, my kids are like they are willing to put work in and like you know do whatever it takes. And I obviously it's a mentality that they need to keep, and I don't want to push football on them either, right? Like for
Yeah. They
me,
can find their own thing.
yeah, like for me, Paxton just kind of like took to it and was like, man, this is what I love this
Oh yeah.
almost too much. Like I said, like he's I want him playing a lot of sports and like finding what he really likes. And if it's football, then it is what it is.
Yep.
But I think that's the biggest thing of like just knowing that you need to be willing to work harder than everybody, because if you're not, you're going to get to a point, whether it's at high school level, college level,
Yep.
whatever it is, there's going to come a point where everybody's just as good of an athlete, and it's
True.
all going to come down to the work that you've put in.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, going a little off topic, um, do you think that's the problem with the transfer portal in college football?
You know what? I think the problem is it's politics, man.
Yeah.
Like the NCAA, especially like if you're talking just the NCAA transfer portal, the transfer portal, the NCAA knew that they were essentially they had free freaking wages from
Oh yeah.
in a $1 billion corporation
Yep.
making money off the backs of athletes. And instead of figuring out a way to make it to where it's like, hey, let's get a salary cap, let's do it the right way, they just put their hands up and went, nope, we're done with it.
Yeah.
It's the wild, wild west. And
Now
now
look.
they can go and be like, see, this is why we didn't do it. And it's like, no, you pieces of shit. You've been literally making millions of dollars
Yeah. Off
off
these
of these
kids.
athletes and saying, oh, well, you're getting a scholarship. Well, guess what? A scholarship at the end of the day, even if you're at a prestige, like a huge, big time blue blood prestigious school, you're maybe looking at 100K. Okay,
Yeah.
well, guess what? That athlete probably made you that in one weekend of fucking jersey sales. So
Yeah.
it's like again, it's a bunch of old, the freaking good old boy network of just a
Yeah.
bunch of old white dudes that
Plus the players that like blow out their knees, get
yeah,
injuries.
yeah. That's why but now they've made it to where it's like gone too far to
Yeah.
where like, you've got all these like dudes that want to be divas, and
Yeah.
they want because you're going to start getting more guys sitting out
Oh yeah.
bowl games, and like or they want to get I guarantee it's coming. Like there'll be guys that'll want to sit out, and it's like, hey, if you want me to play in this bowl game,
Yeah. You
you
gotta
got to
pay me.
pay me to
Yep.
play. And at one hand, I don't blame them
Mhm.
because they've been getting screwed over for so long.
Oh yeah.
But at the other hand, too, it's like there's got to be some form of structure where you have your college teams need a general manager
Yeah.
to work salary cap, and like there needs to be some sort of salary cap. It can't just be like,
Yep.
and it has created parity because like I'm a huge college football fan, but like Texas Tech this year, they've got former players now that are in the oil and gas industry
Oh.
in Texas that are billionaires now.
Yeah.
So if you've noticed if you go and look at the 2025 transfer portal,
Yep.
Texas Tech has a bunch
Yeah.
of ballers. Well, because they took all the money and they put it towards. So
Yep.
it does create parity to teams that have money, but the problem is the teams that don't have money, they fall behind.
Yeah.
And it is turning into a two-league system. The SEC and the Big Ten, their
True.
TV rights are so astronomically more than everybody else. They have the most money.
Yeah. And the ACC is declining a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's why some of the teams are looking to try to get out of
Yeah.
their TV rights
Yeah.
because they're falling so far behind.
Oh
They
yeah.
can't compete. So
True.
it's like, I don't know. Like I said, it's like a political thing. It's like with everything. I think the world in general is so screwed up with politics and like the way
True.
people are, and like, and the problem is too is like I truly believe like as politics get worse, I think a lot of it kind of becomes of like because the average population, people are just dumber. Like they're just
Yeah.
willing to believe anything they see online. So it's like between the two, it's so easy to manipulate people and like
Oh yeah,
convince
100%.
anybody of everything. So it's like
Yeah.
your aunt or uncle who's like in their 60s, they see some
Mhm.
video online and they think it's gospel and it's some
Yeah.
fucking crazy
Like
AI
Jesus.
shit that
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
even it's not even real, but it's like
it's ridiculous.
yeah.
Anyways, so we're coming close to the end here, um, and with the season coming close, um, the Gators, how are they going to succeed again with the 2025 season?
Well,
They keep it going.
yeah, I think kind of like we just talked about, it's the work that we're going to
Yep.
put in. I mean, we've had some I actually think this past 2 days ago, this past Sunday was probably our best practice.
Yep.
And my message to the team was just keep stacking these. If we
Mhm.
keep stacking them, we're, like we can't that's a big thing that we can't do is we can't look at last year and just expect teams not to go and like set the bar higher and think that we're going to just do what we did last year. Like we can't have that mentality. We have to look at it and say we need to work harder. We need to and like it's a work in progress, right? Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
not like, there wasn't things that need to be fixed. Like when again, this is something that we did, and it's something that I think it comes to the thing of like how hard we work is at the end of the year we put out essentially a questionnaire and like an exit interview for every player and said
Yep.
like, hey, what went well this year, what wasn't great this year, like what can we improve, like a
Oh yeah.
ton, you
I didn't
got
get
one,
one.
you must have got
No,
one.
I didn't get one.
Well,
Despite
maybe
I
it's
was, I
because
was waiting, I was like, all right, I guess I'm not getting one because I retired.
you retired. I feel like I would have given it to you anyways. No,
That's all right.
but so I got back all these things of like, hey, this is the things that need to improve. This
Yep.
is what we should build on. And it's like, we went through a lot of them. And like a big thing that we're changing this year is like, everybody's like, man, Aberhart, like the field is just not great. But especially by
Oh
the end of
yeah.
the year, it's like the field's beat up. Like the high school's playing games of
Yep.
rugby and blah, blah, blah. We're practicing. Like we've made the financial commitment to be like, all right, well, we're practicing. Most of our practices are on turf this year.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like that's a lot of money. Like
Yeah.
just
So it's
between
gonna cost more.
practice and game fields, we're damn near $10,000. Like it's like a third of our operating costs.
Yep.
So it's like, all right, well, we need you guys gotta,
Yeah,
get
the
your
fees are
fees
going
in.
up.
Yeah, fees, sponsorships, like
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. Like so, and I agree. Trust me, I'm getting old. My freaking knees were not liking that
Oh yeah.
hard ass grass field by the end of
Mhm.
the season. So I'm all about doing it, but it's
Yep.
about everybody willing to sacrifice what it's going to take to make that work. And like, and then on top of that, it's like, hey, like we need to make sure we're optimizing and taking advantage of every practice we get. And we have our entire season mapped out already.
Oh, perfect.
Like we have every practice.
Yep.
If we win and we have worked our ass off, like we have our off days.
Mhm.
And if we don't, then that's not
Yeah.
an off day.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's like we have a goal and we have things mapped out the way we want it to be done. It's just a matter of going out and doing it. And from the early returns of what I've seen, we've had great buy-in. Like I'm actually super surprised of what we brought back. Like
Yep.
our entire offense is back for the
Yeah.
most part, which is crazy. Like I thought for sure like this guy might be gone, but it was like I think at the end of the day what it is we finally got that freaking 100-pound weight off our back, which was winning a national championship.
Yep.
But I think right now guys realize and we all take the mentality of, yeah, now we're just in a sea of a bunch of teams that have won a national championship.
Oh yeah.
Now it's like, how many teams have won back to back? How many teams have ever gone out west and actually won one out there?
Yep.
Or out east, I
Yeah.
mean, and won one out there? It's very few. I know the Transit won back to back. I think maybe some team back in the day, maybe the Wolfpack did. I'm not sure, but like,
Yeah. Have to look.
yeah, but it's a handful of teams at the
Yep.
most. And it's like now you're looking at starting to do some things that have either never been done or only been done a couple times. And then that kind of puts you out of phase of like, hey, now you're not just down here with all these teams that have won a national title. Now that takes you to a tier.
Oh yeah.
And I think everybody really has bought into that. And like we're bringing in some, like we've kind of relied this year where we're like, hey, some of these guys that like want to step up, we're gonna give you the opportunity to do that. Like, we're not gonna go crazy recruiting at your spot because we think some of these guys can step up and make plays for us.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, we have some guys that have reached out to us, some guys that we've talked to that I think they're gonna be a good fit for one,
Mhm.
and they fit the culture. They're not gonna be problems, which is half the
Oh
battle.
yeah.
Because you can be a great football player, but if you're a problem,
Yeah.
then
Goodbye.
yeah. So like, but yeah, like I think we have some guys that we're gonna announce that teams are gonna be like, because I know there's guys that have reached out to us that I know, not even from the league, just
Oh yeah.
from a
Yeah.
recruiting standpoint, have said like, hey, like this team has talked to us, they want us to come out, and they've committed to playing for us. Like,
Okay.
we have a
Wow.
like there's certain hurdles that we go through of like, hey, like you need to make sure you check this box, like to
Yep.
make sure before we're gonna like announce you, just in the sense of like, especially guys that have never played in the league.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Of
they could
course.
commit to you, but it's like,
Then all of a sudden they back out.
yeah, they back out.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like
Although it's time.
you're gonna get a place, you're gonna get a job, like stuff
Yeah.
like that. Once you've kind of started checking those boxes and you're ready to come out, then we'll announce things. But like,
Okay.
but we have some guys that and we're losing some guys, like, and
Yeah.
that's the point of it. Like,
Especially on D.
I think we've got 4 guys that are going to play overseas, and
Yeah.
one guy, honestly, Chris Dublin, probably one of the best players in the league.
Oh yeah.
I know he wasn't getting his due, but I think by the end, national title, that AFL championship,
Oh yeah.
I think people started realizing how good he was. And he's a guy that probably should be playing at a very high level of the Euro leagues. And he just, not even unfortunately, he's just got some family stuff.
Okay.
Actually, some good family stuff.
Yeah.
Of why he's not going to be able to go anywhere this year.
Okay.
So really, we should have probably had 5. So we're replacing those. But it's good. It's like, because at the end of the day, the guys that that are contacting you, they want to win. They want to go play in Europe. They want to play in CFL, whatever it is.
Oh yeah. And they see
And if
this
we,
is the place to be.
if we can give them that opportunity and show that we're getting guys off and playing, then
yeah, that's how you get talent.
Yeah, man. So,
and great talent to the league too.
Yeah, and it's a lot of guys that you're bringing to the league that have never even heard about the league.
True.
So
perfect. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what happens this year, especially for the Gators.
Man.
Yeah. So one more question. I know you're a Florida State fan. What the hell happened with that?
Well, I could give you the long story of what happened with that, but I'll just give you the short story because I don't like that question. Get the fuck out.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.